Hello, good afternoon. This is Juicy Saft. I made a TikTok a little bit ago, not a little bit ago, days ago, I don't remember. And this is fitting because I just saw Endgame, so I might as well continue talking about it because it's on the mind, Avengers and whatnot. I made a TikTok saying 50% of the universe, Thanos was snap, and I was saying that it was most likely like with the amount of universes and everything, the amount of people that are in that confirmed universe, it was unlikely that Earth would be hit that hard. Now, the joke was counting all life, all things that you can consider life, including cells, including at what point do you consider it not alive? What point do you consider it a function of an entire organism, like a superorganism? Like would a tree die completely, or would just 50% of its individual cells die? So I was counting all life individually, as in like anything that is by itself, either one complete organism with all of the cells within it, so the entire thing dies, or is just a simple bacteria. So I was counting bacteria, I was counting plants, trees, fungi, plankton, whales, aliens, everything, planets that are alive, maybe even stars that are alive, anything that can die. So a lot of people were telling me the law of large numbers and the gambler's fallacy, which are both about repeating situations. It's about if something happens less likely, if something happens more one time, it's less likely to happen again, or whatever. If the more something happens, the more likely that it's like if you keep getting heads and heads and heads, then it's more likely that you'll get a tails the next time, when it's still a 50% chance. No matter how many times that you flip heads on a fair coin, it'll always be head. It'll always be a 50-50 chance, no matter how many times either one. And the more times it goes on, the more it'll likely be, it'll even out. No matter what, you might get more tails at some point and more heads at some point. It's completely random. And then he also said the law of large numbers, which is also about repeating. It's about things that go on and you keep on doing it over and over and over again. When Thanos' snap was one event, one time, instant. It was not about something that repeats. It wasn't about chances repeating and repeating and repeating. It was about every single thing at the same time dying. So each individual creature did not have a 50% chance. In my mind, what I was thinking was that the entire universe was being half down. Not every single person had a 50% chance of dying until we were at half. So everybody got a flip of the coin, because at that point, if every single person had a 50% chance of dying until it was exactly half, you're flipping a coin for each person. I just don't think, maybe I'm wrong. I could easily be, and that's fine. I just feel like with how there could be a chance, there's an absolute possibility, if everybody has a 50% chance, every single one of those coin flips lands up heads. It's not impossible. Every single one of them lands up heads. So that's not 50% of the universe. That's all of the universe. That's everybody dead. So if every single creature has a 50% chance at that one instance, it is very likely that more than 50% would be taken, or less than 50% would be taken. Instead of, because it wasn't a matter of chance. He was having the entire universe, and it was random, and there is a chance in that, blah blah blah. But I was thinking it more like you have an entire box. You're not repeating the situation. You are pulling out names from a box all at once, because it wasn't, put the names back in, take them out. Like say, okay, let's simplify it. Let's say there's 10 people. There's 10 people, right? And you're saying 5 people are going to get fired, and we're going to pull it out all at once randomly. You know what I mean? Yes, you still have a 50% chance then and there, and that should carry over even in large numbers and everything. But I just feel like if you're counting in, I don't feel like it's likely that you would, like, your chances are still 50%, but it becomes less and less likely that your name would you know what I mean? Like I'm still thinking about this myself, and I've already agreed that I'm wrong in terms of my whole stance is like, for instance, whenever I have an opinion and people are telling me wrong, I always operate under the idea, okay, they're right, let me prove them wrong. So accept what they are saying as fact. Just accept it for a second. Accept what they say as fact and prove it wrong. And if you can prove it wrong, then you can challenge that view. If you can't prove it wrong, then you either have to accept that it's true or take a moment back and regroup. So I don't feel like that, because I mean, think about it. Because they're putting every single individual creature. My idea when I was making the video was that it was one person versus a trillion, and it wasn't happening again and again. That was, again, your odds or one of you being vaporized, or rather Earth being vaporized, and half of it, if the universe is infinite, truly infinite, like we say it is, and there's infinite possibilities and infinite universes that could be, you can't have infinity. There's always going to be more. And from what I can tell, with the fact that there's infinite multiverses and things like that, and what you consider an infinite multiverse, what you can consider that maybe those universes do operate in the same plane of existence, except they're so far apart and separated, and the laws of physics in those exact areas are different because they're just completely far away. And individually, in one bubble, I would call it the bubble of physics, which only affects one exact point in space, because that's how the laws of physics work in that one specific place, versus other places where, you know, the laws of physics are different, but they're still in the same physical plane. They're still in the same. You could have 50% of the universe. They're still infinite. It's still infinite. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So, it's still something that I'm getting, because it makes sense to me, like the Gambles fallacy and the law of large numbers, that 50% will still be 50%, and half of a trillion can still be simplified down to 1/2 if you keep going down. But that's if you keep going down, you know. But you could simplify it. I don't know. But this isn't repeating. The thing is that it wasn't all at once thing. It was a coin flip for the entire universe. But that doesn't mean that each individual person had a coin flip at the same time. You know, it doesn't work on that grand scale, because the gambler's fallacy and the law of large numbers really only work with, you know, simple closed systems, simple things. They don't work on a grand genocide level scale of who gets to live and die. Maybe it does. You know, it's still, again, I have no problem being wrong. I do want to prove myself right, or at least my way of thinking in some degree. But if I can't, then I can't. I have to concede. I'm at least explaining what I was thinking. Because I know in the comics, I know in other places and other iterations, it's not 50% of all life, it's 50% of each species, it's 50% of blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, think about, okay, you're having the entire universe, you're killing until there's exactly half. Because that's what Thanos was doing, is that he was killing until there was exactly half. What he did on every single planet. You know? So when he was killing people, did they have a 50% chance of dying when he was on their planet going door to door, killing them? No. He lined them all up, and he separated them. Well, no, then again, that's 50% right there. You have a chance of being in that group. You either get in the group that dies or you don't. So never mind. Again, I'm thinking I'm still thinking that instead of like lining them up, he's going into there and killing them. Because that's the difference there, though, is that he's not lining them up. He's not choosing randomly. Like, he's not pushing them aside. But he is choosing randomly. I don't know. See, this is what happens. So maybe I am wrong, and that's fine. But I don't know if it can work on a grand scale like that. Would it still be 50%? Because it's not repeating. The process does not repeat, and you cannot repeat it, because if you have it again, that's still more than half the universe. That's his whole entire goal, was to have the entire universe, not continuously have the universe, but just do it once, where he has the universe and he's done. That's his whole day. Would you truly be given a 50% chance with the amount of people that are there? If each individual person has a coin flip, then yes. But if it's whittling it down, that's still 50%. I guess I'm wrong. That's fine. I'm still just trying to roll it over my head, thinking like, If you think of it planetary scale, then it's 50%. But like, because it's not just each individual planet though. I just was thinking like with the amount of planets, it is more like likely that Earth wouldn't really be affected that to that degree. The amount of life in the universe, the amount of life that you could have and get rid of, the amount of life. I mean, sure, everything's 50-50, but there's still trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of bacteria, and you're getting rid of. You're just trying to get down to half. You're just trying to whittle the number down. So say you just kill until it's half. You kill people until it's half. So I think of the snap as Thanos specifically going around and killing people. And it's not random. It is random, but he's like by hand killing somebody. So if you went down and killed people, say there's 10 people and you went in there and you were going to kill until there was 5 people left, is it really a 50% chance then? Are you really like, because there's many other factors that come into place. What is considered alive? What isn't considered alive? If you were dead for a few minutes, which happens, and imagine that happening all over the place. Are you considered technically alive? Like, say you died, you're dead, but you are able to come back. You're able to, rejuvenate. Are you dead? What if there's creatures that can lie dormant or dead cells and they just wait? Are they still technically alive? Even though they can be classified as they can be classified as dead, dormant. I don't know. What do you classify as life? There's many other factors that come into place. It's not just a coin flip. There's so many more. So, with that being said, 50% of all life. What do you consider life? For my joke, which was all life. Are viruses alive? I consider them alive to some degree. They don't have the ability to replicate without cells, but I consider them the simplest form of a repeating life. They need other cells to reproduce, but I mean, they're basically just reproduction. They're basically just reproductive cells. That's their whole entire existence is. And I consider life anything that is able to pass on its genes to the future. Or anything that is sentient, anything that can rationalize itself, or anything that has biological processes, or is complex, or is simplistic but complex enough to be. There's many things. So there's many factors you have to come into place. Do you consider a living planet to be life, or is it still just a mind within a planet? Because is the mind alive, and are there beings that are technically not really alive because they have no real biological life. They have no real biological needs. So are you killing them? So what if a majority of the universe are them? There's billions, trillions and trillions of non-biological life forms that are just sentient. They're just minds detached from bodies. They are only just energy. And they have no ability to eat, sleep. They're just minds. But they are technically aware, and you can consider them life. They're a life form in some degree. Do you consider that life, or do you not consider that life? So now the universe is still populated, and they're still able to affect the universe and take things and destroy things. Do you consider that alive? So if you have the universe, is it really 50% if there's still things that... The 50% thing doesn't really take effect because there's more factors to it, because you're killing things. You're not just picking numbers. There's more than just that. The odds are that he can't kill exactly half. He can't whittle down exactly half randomly. If it's a true random system, he cannot have the entire universe. So he is killing just exactly half. I don't know. So let's say it's just every single person individually before that moment. So let's think big scale. Let's think that before everybody's killed, each individual person is selected and put into a randomized live or die situation. If he's killing until there's exactly half, I think those are separate. I think that, God, I want to be right so bad. I want to be like, it wouldn't affect Earth in the way that it did. The amount of heroes that were lost, if every single person got a coin flip, but then again, if you think large number, I'm not saying that because there's a large number, it's more likely that 50%, that all the coins would flip up and be heads, because it's still a chance. But I'm saying that because it's a 50% chance, and say you're flipping a coin for every single person, there is still a chance that every single one of those lands heads and everybody dies, or tails and nobody dies. It may be astronomical, but it's still a chance. So if you're willing down to 50% of the universe, and you leave no room for question, you leave no room for any coin flips, or any chance that there will not be less death. So there's absolutely no, oh well, there'll be more or there'll be less, because if it is a coin flip, then there's a easily possible way that less than half or more than half will be killed, because it's still a possibility. It's still, maybe I'm dumb as rocks, and that's not how coin flips work, but you can flip a coin 100 times and they can land 100 times face up, and it's still 50%. It is still 50% chance either way. They can land heads 100 times. It is extremely rare that that'll happen, because again, that's the possibility of it landing heads. 100. What are the odds of it landing heads? Because you're talking about odds too. Like what are the odds that it lands heads 100 times? Is it still 50% that it lands heads 100 times? I would love to know other people's thoughts on this, but I'm saying that there's more to that. There's more to that, because Thanos was saying that he was going to kill exactly half. He was going to kill exactly half, and he did kill exactly half of the universe. And in my mind, saying, okay, it's 50% of the entire universe and all life, whatever you can constitute as life, 50% of that, with trillions and 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 trillions of planets. I just don't think that, because you could kill exactly half of the universe, and Earth could still not be affected in the way that it was. My mind is thinking that Thanos specifically was killing half of Earth's population, specifically, like, first and foremost, because, in that moment, I know it's half of all species. I know it's, but he's also said all dogs and every cat, like 50% of every species died, whatever. Then that counts as life, all life. So, but whatever, because that's not half of the universe. That's not half of the universe. If you're killing 50% of all species, then that's not half the universe. You know what I mean? Like, because that would mean that each and every single species populates exactly half of the half a worth of the universe, or exactly the same amount. But there's more, there's less. So if you're trying to have the universe, you can't kill 50% of all species. So killing 50% of all species is different. Oh my God, it is so infuriating to have these thought processes, but not have the intelligence to actually really, like, I have the general gist of where I'm trying to go, but I don't want to spout garbage either, and then just believe it wholeheartedly. I like to question everything I think and everything I'm saying. And, like flat earthers, not to call anybody out, I know, you lost me now. They don't question themselves. They just view themselves as emphatically right. I question pretty much anything. I accept the globe model. I've never seen the globe model, and I say, oh, it could still be possible that we could be lied to. It's still possible, but I'm not gonna. I still think, oh no, but they know more than I do. You know what I mean? But people who believe, basically anybody that believes something without ever questioning themselves or ever questioning what they're given, and putting into the head, okay, they're right, how can I prove them wrong? They don't do that, I just don't want to be caught into that cycle of, like, I don't want to be stuck like that, where I just believe garbage or believe things that are just wrong. And because I want to know the bigger, I want to be on the righter side and not be right. I don't care about being right. What I care about is getting to the right side, becoming right, learning. If I'm right, then I'm right. If I'm not, then I can become right. So what I'm saying is that there's more factors than just a fucking coin flip. Sorry, I don't mean to cuss. For all life. What constitutes life? What is Thanos' interpretation of life? Because it's not hard to see that with the Infinity Gauntlet, you have to specifically tell what you consider life. And let's say it's all life. I think that I was thinking that Thanos was killing Earth specifically because they all posed a threat. No planet has ever posed a threat to him before, and he has the Infinity Gauntlet, and he still had trouble fighting them all. So he specifically targeted heroes. So he wasn't doing it randomly. At that point, he was targeting Earth specifically. I keep saying specific. I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't think that it's that, because the law of large numbers says that that just because it happens a lot of times doesn't mean that it won't happen. But what I'm saying is that it will be less likely. What I'm saying is that there's still a chance. There's still a chance. Because they were using the wrong terms, or at least using it incorrectly. They were talking about gambler's fallacy and the law of large numbers because I was just saying, there's billions of planets and trillions of planets. And they were thinking everybody got a coin flip, when really it was just half the universe. And I guess so, because it's repeating. But it was all at once. It was instantaneous. That was my thing. That it wasn't just each person took a time. It was kill immediate. Like every single thing was lined up and then mowed down exactly like every other planet. Put all of life in front of you, bacteria and everything. Do you think that if it's all life in the universe that Earth would be hit like that? Like that specifically, the chances are still 50-50, but the odds that Earth were, I don't know. This is just a thought experiment. I've already accepted that I'm wrong. I've already accepted that I might not exactly I might not truly get where I might be right or wrong. I hope my mic did mess up and it doesn't sound like garbage, because it sometimes does that when I use my webcam, because it doesn't know which mic should I use. Which mic should I use? The terrible, crappy mic that's like this big, that's located too far away, or the actual like professional-ish mic that you bought? I don't know. We'll flip a coin. We'll see. 50-50. Oh wait, how long is? Wow, that's weird. Okay, I could have sworn there was nothing in there. Anyway. I might be wrong. I am wrong. But there was a thought process to it. There was. That the chances, if you're having the universe, if you're just killing until there's exactly half of the universe, randomly or targeted, you're lining them all up. You can't. There's more than just the fact, like, it doesn't. I'll call it the Thanos principle or something. I just don't think that it works when there are so many other variables that stop it, or other variables that get in the way. It's not really a coin flip if there's other things, like, what about beings that can die, but then you can easily get back? I mean, he snapped and erased their life, but what if they're in a state where they're not technically considered alive? What about stone creatures that aren't really biological? What does Thanos consider life? Anything sentient? So if he considers anything sentient alive, and like I said again, the thought process that there's beings just made of thought that aren't really alive, and what if they populate the universe far more than anything else? It's still 50% chance, but they would still be affected more than if there's 3 ants and then a billion of these thought creatures. 50-50, all those ants could die. all 3 of those ants could die easily because it's 50-50. And what about beings that are technically alive in this universe but are dead in another? That they inhabit both universes and they are a multi-dimensional being. I guess his gauntlet wouldn't work on that. So again, he couldn't kill. Bottom line is he couldn't kill exactly half the universe. It just wouldn't be possible. He couldn't kill exactly half. There's too many variables. There's too many things that don't constitute his life to his perception. Things that he wouldn't... I mean, he's connected to the soul stone, so I guess anything with a soul. But, so is that what constitutes life if you think of the soul? But what is the soul? That's just a human-made concept to describe consciousness, to describe the natural biological functions, because we're nothing more than robots, biological robots. No matter how much we want to believe that we're special, if our bodies didn't decay and we could repair the damage, any damage, death wouldn't exist. Death is just because our parts break down and we fade away. If we could outlast our memories and save them off and connect to a device that would perfectly capture all of our memories forever and always and make sure that nobody would forget their memories, then there would be no memory death, which is what I call dying in another way, where you don't truly die, but the you who was does die because you forget that person. And a new you and a new personality, or rather a new person, takes over. The same way that you had a memory death about your childhood. That child you, that you is constantly dying. And this me will die. Over time, this me will die because I will remember less and less of the situation around me. And I'll have a memory death again. And a new me will take place. It is still me, and it's still my consciousness. However, I died. This version of me has died. So if you save off memory death and you save off biological death, there's no real death. Besides your cells, of course. You know, you can balance is balance was. Things need to cycle. Things always need to cycle, and that's the truth of the universe. That no matter what, you need to let things cycle, or else, because the universe is always trying to go towards a state of stability, whether that stability is through connection or death or destruction. So it's always, the universe is always trying to be in a state of absolute stability. It's going towards, you know, that's why things with high pressure go to low pressure, because it wants to even out, because that's just how the laws of physics work here, where it'll always go towards whatever is more stable. Why things decay, why things form, why the most stable atoms and everything don't react with anything, because they can't, you know. And I guess you could consider the universe being in a constant flux, in a constant flame of birth and death, being the most stable universe and the most stable form, because it's always fueling itself. The things that destroy are put back and then keep coming back, and it's a cycle that keeps fueling itself. A perpetual motion machine, if you will. The entire universe is just that. But even then, it's slowly dying. But could you tap into energy that is there? They're saying you can't break the second law of thermodynamics, where you're taking energy where it isn't there, but is there stored energy that could be potential energy that we don't know about? For instance, I don't know. That's another thought for another time, and for somebody much smarter than me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this entire rambling session of me just trying to figure out whether or not I'm thinking the correct way, or at least getting to where my thought process was when I was saying that. Yes, I still think that Earth wouldn't be hurt like that in that way. It's still possible that it could, but I just think that if you're talking about a truly randomized system and in a truly random way, Earth would not be hit like that. With the amount of coin flips happening, the amount of things, it would be 50-50, but I don't know. But that's the law of large numbers, just because it's happening a long time, again and again and again. Even if it's happening instantaneously, it doesn't mean that, you know, almost 50%. But exactly half of all life, would that mean that Earth would be hit exactly like that, in that way? Or could, if it's a true randomized coin flip, could he really kill exactly that? I don't think that you can. In a truly randomized way, you can't kill exactly half the universe. You can't. If you're doing a random thing where you so it's not a random thing. It's not random. I'm just saying, that's my whole thing, is I can't get that. I just can't get how, if it's a coin flip for every single creature in the universe, every single person, it would not kill exactly half of the universe. It just wouldn't kill exactly half. But then again, because either he's targeting randomly, he's just targeting people back and forth. He's connecting to all these souls, and he's just plucking away. He's just saying, okay, all at once, these people, and gets rid of them. Grabbing names out of the box and throwing them. And your chances are that. But if every single person gets one coin flip, so let's say every single living creature flips a coin. They flip a coin. Thanos is killing half the universe. He says, everybody gets a 50% chance of living or dying. They all flip a coin. He's not directly influencing and killing each of those people. The gauntlet is just going to kill, the gauntlet's just saying that everybody has a 50% chance of living. Exactly, 50% chance of living. Flip a coin. Will that kill half the universe then? Will that kill half the universe? Or is it more likely that there will be, it's not exact, there won't be half the universe killed. There won't be half the, I mean, you're talking about shitloads of coin flips. I just don't think that exactly half the universe would be killed. I gotta stop talking about this, because my brain is going through cycles of being like, okay, they're right, and then I'm like, oh, but in some areas they might be wrong, and then I gotta just stop. Like, comment, subscribe, because it helps. Let's see if we can get Juice to 2,000 followers. Hell, let's see if we can get Juice monetized. Hell, let's just see if this won't be monetized, but whatever. Let's just see if Juice can get more people here. If I have to do controversial topics, fine, so be it. I'll say it now for no reason. Thanos did not kill exactly half exactly half the universe. He could not have. If every single person got a 50% chance, it did not kill half the universe. So, that being said, that means that nobody got a coin flip, because if you give every single creature on Earth a coin flip, there's an exact possibility, however rare, that either nobody dies or everybody dies, or more people die or more people don't. Just because it's a 50-50 doesn't mean that it will be 50-50. Doesn't mean that exactly half will be destroyed, and it's a guarantee that exactly half will be destroyed just because, it's a coin flip, 50-50. You're talking about again and again and again and again. I don't know. Maybe not. Because we're simplifying. We're simplifying the entire universe and all lives into either being alive or dead, and we're just pushing people into that category. When really, if it's a coin flip, and everybody is flipping a coin at the same exact time, every single creature, everything that can be considered alive in Thanos' mind, flipping a coin, even things that can't flip coins, whatever, and they all flip a coin, you're telling me that every single one of those coins, every single freaking coin, would be exactly down the middle, half and half, 50% heads and 50% tails. Exactly. You're telling me that there's no possibility that a billion people could just all end up heads when they should have been half heads and half tails? You're telling me that just because it says 50-50, that it's absolutely always going to produce, a 50% result every single time? You repeat the process over and 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 over again, and there's no chance that more heads will be placed than tails, or more tails will be placed, or it's extremely possible that you flip a coin because it's 50-50, that they all land up heads and everybody dies, or 80% of them end up heads, and exactly 80% of the universe dies, but then 20% don't. So that's the whole point. You cannot put the coin flip part into an entire genocide where Thanos wanted exactly half Exactly. No ifs, ands, or buts. Exactly half of the universe destroyed. It just doesn't make sense because he would directly have to kill exactly half. He could not do it randomly. He'd have to target. Because if you leave it up to chance, if you just leave it up to chance, I don't know. It's just, there's an extreme possibility that it does. Now, more times than not, yeah, sure, maybe. No, I'm sorry. Because there have been times where I flipped a coin over and over. I flipped a coin and I've gotten 20 heads and 5 tails. I'm sorry. That's the wrong ratio, but whatever. I've gotten more heads than tails. And it's still 50-50. In a fair coin, it's still 50-50. Now, there are some coins that are weighted incorrectly, so, I try to use... Because there was another thought process that we were having in middle school or high school, I can't remember. We were doing a coin flip challenge, and they were telling us about probability, and they were teaching us about statistics and everything. And I was just flipping a coin because I wanted to see if it was possible that you could get more heads than tails, even though it's 50%. And I'd flip a coin, and sure, yeah, over time it'll always even out. Over time, no matter how many times you flip that coin, it'll still be a 50% chance. But maybe that's... But there's still a chance if every single person at the same time is flipping a coin, because it's not repeating. If every single... Because it was instantaneous. If every single person was flipping a coin at the same time... Sure, it wasn't instantaneous in the movie. People started fading away and whatnot. But that's bullshit. I think it was all 50% at that moment. It was exactly everybody flipping a coin. Then there is more than not a chance, just a chance, that more heads could be done tails. And there's a chance that all of the head... So he could not kill exactly half the universe with coin flips. I don't think you can kill exactly half the universe with coin flips. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm wrong, and I'm just angry about it because it's just not making sense to my dumb ape brain, my primitive thinker, my bag of poop on fire that's encased in a chicken coop with 30 wolves running around in the background, scaring the chickens even further, causing them to shit even further, igniting that shit on fire, and then the chicken's on fire, and that's just enticing the wolves because they're smelling burnt chicken and they're ignoring the shit smell, so they're just like, burnt chicken, we can eat around the poo-poo, and the fire will cook it off anyway, so it'll kill all bacteria. I could talk for hours. I could literally go an entire podcast. Like I could go 24 hour, a 24-hour live stream of just me talking about this one thing, because I just don't think that Thanos could that if we're talking about the chances of him killing exactly half with coin flips. If you want to put it down to that, where it's truly random and you give every single creature a 50% chance, then you're not really killing half the universe. Because he's saying, okay, everybody get a 50% chance of living or dying. And not saying, okay, killing half the universe now. No, he's giving every single creature a 50% chance. Then it's possible that nobody on Earth could be hurt. If it's a 50-50, it's possible. It's possible. Maybe a few, maybe not, maybe a lot. I gotta look up math. I gotta look up math. I gotta read math now. I gotta care about math again because I have to learn, because it's gonna infuriate me if I don't know it. I have to know that I'm either wrong or right. I have to get there myself. I have to be able to read. I already know I'm wrong, but this thought won't leave my head where I have this aching pain in my brain where I'm saying, no, the chickens are right. The chickens are right to some degree. Those chickens may be pecking for their lives and scared of the wolves, but they're right about something. The fire's fucking hot and it smells like shit. So they're right about that. They may be wrong about what's gonna kill them, but they're right about that. Whatever.